My name's Georgia, and I'm Chief Client Officer for Digital Voices. I have been at Digital Voices for 18 months. I actually joined the business kind of mid-December on a Monday and got married on the Saturday. So that was a busy week, but obviously joining the business was the preferable date that week.
And what does your role look like?
So my role, I'm really lucky I get to wear many different hats. I run the accounts team, so I'm very much focused on our client servicing, building relationships with our clients, and just making sure that we deliver an amazing client service. So when the amazing brands that we work with, they kind of come to Digital Voices and experience something that is different and special and something that keeps them coming back. But ultimately, I also look after the paid team. So I have a background in paid media, which means I can look after that team and, make sure we're pivoting the business in the right way and integrating paid alongside organic. I also look after the strategy team, and it's very much focused on ensuring we do annual planning with our clients. We think really strategically. We can share big ideas and concepts and ultimately keep our brands at the forefront of trends.
And how did you find yourself in this position? Tell us a bit about your previous roles and what led you to where you are now.
So my previous roles have been very different to, I guess, the world of Digital Voices. So my background is kind of big network, paid media agencies. I spent 8 years at Wavemaker, over 2 stints. That was my last role before moving over to Digital Voices. I also spent a few years at Dentsu as well. So very similar, I guess, those roles in terms of big media agency land, very large scale businesses. And actually it's been such a kind of breath of fresh air to be able to repivot and do something different. Working in a smaller, independently owned business is really exciting, and it really gives me the ability to actually make quick decisions and feel like I'm making a difference and actually get to know everybody in the business, as opposed to perhaps, working in a very large business where you may not get to know everybody on that personal level.
And how has your experience in media agencies shaped your opinion of influencer marketing?
Just before I left Wavemaker, I was working with kind of big blue chip brands, some of the biggest brands at Wavemaker, and I loved my role. I had an amazing opportunity to have a really diverse role across lots of different teams and lots of different specialisms. But actually, one thing that kept coming back just before I left was client econometrics, showing the kind of results from all the different media channels that the brands that we worked with were running. And actually the one thing that kept coming up consistently in terms of a channel they should be investing more in, and actually they hadn't hit those diminishing returns, was influencer marketing. And that really kind of resonated with me when I was lucky enough to kind of spot the Digital Voices role. I really realized at that point, actually, it was a moment in the industry that I really wanted to be part of. The results were there, they spoke for themselves. Econometrics were proving that influencer marketing was not just driving brand awareness results and relevancy for brands, but ultimately actually had an impact on the bottom line as well. And they're the ROI results I was seeing for some of the brands I worked with. And for me, that really meant I wanted to kind of move into it much more, I guess, a more specialist role, where I kind of moved into influencer marketing. And previously my role had been cross-channel, so it included influencer marketing, but also spanned TV, radio and press. So having all those different channels really meant I had a great breadth of knowledge of the industry, but equally helped me understand that influencer marketing is where the industry is shifting, and I just, I really wanted to be part of that journey.
Why are you so passionate about the influencer marketing space?
For me, it's a multitude of things. I think, back to my previous point about the results it can drive for brands. For me, I think the most important thing is actually the creativity. Having spent a very long career in the world of media and seeing the content that's been put out there by the brands I've been able to work with, it's so refreshing to see content that has become more creative. Working with influencers means you can create something different and not your traditional ads that you see on the TV day in, day out. And I think for me, it's that level of creativity and being able to kind of speak about a product or just something in a different way, in a much more personal way. So yeah, I think for me, it's that refreshingness of moving away from your traditional advertising and actually creating something that can really gain that cut through and stand out in, a very, very busy landscape.
So how does exceptional client servicing directly influence the success of an influencer marketing campaign?
There's so many case studies out there of brands speaking about the relationship that they have with their agencies and the impact that has on great work. So I think ultimately it's at the forefront of every single advertising campaign. And, obviously that includes influencer marketing. But when a brand and agency have a relationship that spans into a partnership, I think actually what happens with that is you build trust, and you build the ability for the brands to relax and leave that kind of decision making within your control. And the beauty of that in influencer marketing is that we need to put trust in the influencers. We are briefing creators to create content for us. And with that comes the need to have the trust that they can understand their audience and create something that will work. It builds trust. And ultimately, I think, we work in an industry where we want to spend time with people. You don't kind of enter the world of marketing without that mindset. And I think we are building those relationships with our clients and kind of enjoying the role along the way.
Can you tell us about some of the client relationships you've built at Digital Voices? What's the key to maintaining them?
I think I'll answer the second question first in terms of the maintaining them. And I think it goes back to being a partner to our clients as opposed to a supplier. And I think there's a very distinct difference between being a supplier and being a partner. And for me, we really kind of focus on building a partnership with every single brand that we work with at every single level. And that comes back to really understanding their business. So I think, something I really kind of ingrain in our accounts team is understanding your client and becoming a consumer. So if we work with a car brand, go and experience your local retailer, understand how do they sell the product, what products do they have, how do they show up in the real world, and even maybe ask some people while you're there, why are you here, why are you looking to buy this product? If we have a client like Colgate, who are a toothpaste brand, it's using the product, understanding the benefits, and how as a consumer you can engage with it. So I think firstly it's being a consumer to the brand that you actually service, understanding them. And I think, it goes back to spending time with them, like genuinely, like getting to know them, understanding their pain points as a individual, as an employee of their brand, and actually as a human. So I think, I love the relationships we have with the brands that we work with. I've just spent the morning speaking with Which, an amazing client of ours. I'm really lucky that they're local here in London. I get to spend that face-to-face time with them. I can spend time with them at different levels within their business, at their different kind of seniorities, but equally also understand their business challenges and, ultimately just being curious and asking questions, getting to know them and understanding who they are.
And how do you balance maintaining a strong relationship while advising them to maybe change or adapt a campaign idea?
It's not an easy balance. I think, in some industries and some teams, client service teams are kind of ingrained that they can't say no. And I think the kind of philosophy we have at Digital Voices is, we can't always say yes, but we will always provide a solution. So it's about finding the best alternative. And I think sometimes we do have to push back and we do have to maybe ask a client to pivot or understand why we have a different recommendation. And I think all we can ever do is, rationalize our decisions with the amazing kind of data tools and proprietary access we have at Digital Voices in terms of results and expertise. So making sure that every time we give a kind of alternative solution, we really support the day-to-day team we work with that rationalization, but also supporting them if they need to then kind of pivot internally and they have stakeholders that they need to take along that journey. And we just make sure we take that time and care to support them on answering any questions they might have. And, as I said, giving the right answers, and even if that's not the ones they need to hear.
What has been your favourite client campaign since working at Digital Voices?
It would have to be on Colgate. So Colgate are a brand I've been really lucky enough to work with over the years at kind of different agencies. So firstly, for me, it's personal. I've been able to build that relationship with them. I really understand their business. The team have now become, really close with them and also, ingrained in their business. And, that side of it makes it fun and enjoyable that you've built those personal relationships. But second to that, I think it's the work that we're doing with Colgate. We're focusing on creator paid ads. So we are commissioning creators in kind of Nordic markets for Colgate to create organic content, but ultimately we're also briefing them to create kind of a fully optimized paid content that we partner with their media agency on. So that ability to be really forward thinking and actually using the content in multitude of ways, but ultimately driving even more efficiencies in media because we're using creator ads, and we've seen some great results that we're really proud of.
Who would be your dream clients and why?
I'm going to have to go with an automotive brand. I absolutely love cars, and I was lucky enough to work with BMW for quite a few years in a previous role. I think they're, the way that they tackle marketing is incredible. I think that they, they're very forward thinking in the way that they work. I thoroughly enjoyed working with them, and yeah, I would love to work with BMW again for sure.
And have you faced any hurdles or challenges in your career?
Yeah, I think the fact that I entered the industry at a very young age, I mean, it kind of seems crazy to say, but I left school without any A-levels or attending university, and I left at, it wasn't much past 16, straight into the industry, kind of into the world of media and advertising at the time. And I think with that, perhaps hurdles that I had put on myself in the fact that I didn't have a degree, I didn't have A-levels, I didn't have that kind of traditional background that maybe people I was, kind of up against in interviewing and actually working alongside for the first few years of my career. So I think for me that was definitely a big hurdle for me to overcome personally. But I guess also off the back of that, joining the industry at such a young age, I think being a young female progressing in the industry, what would have been 15 years ago, wasn't easy. It was, I remember my first tasks in my first role were very much focused around making tea and coffee for everybody and cleaning the cupboard. So I think, to be able to kind of build that respect and grow yourself within the industry at a very young age was difficult. But actually, I think maybe overcoming the hurdles that I had put on myself, that I needed a degree to be respected and to be heard within the industry. I think after realizing that wasn't the case, I think after that I definitely was able to kind of, progress on my own way and not hold myself back.
Do you have any advice for someone looking to break into the media industry?
Yeah, I would say, I guess for me, if it's something you want to do and you're passionate about, then don't wait. I think I really ummed and ahed about the idea of staying in school and following a more traditional route. But even in that age, I knew this is what I wanted to do, and I knew it was an industry that really suited me and my personality. So it took a lot for me to make that decision and, move into the world of full-time work, having just only finished my GCSE. So I think I was lucky enough that it worked out for me. And I think also don't hold yourself back. I think for me, worrying so much about needing a degree to get a job or to be relevant or be heard within the industry and actually be able to become senior and respected. I would say don't hold back, and there's huge amounts of opportunities out there, and just make sure you really think about what might be right for you.
What is one thing you would recommend brands to do in 2024 and beyond?
I would say to consider influencer marketing much earlier on in your marketing plans. I think influencer marketing, being a newer channel in the marketing mix, has been neglected sometimes, perhaps left as a bolt-on or something you can activate quite quickly, even though you've planned this amazing campaign for months and it's integrated, there's a red thread, there's a strategy. I think it's a shame to have not considered influencer marketing on day one as part of that strategy and red thread. So I urge brands to start thinking earlier and sooner about engaging us. We'd love to be involved in those, day one conversations. We're doing that more and more. We are annual planning now for our clients, thinking ahead, planning out an annual strategy. So it isn't just bursts of campaigns that kind of have blip effects across the year, but actually there's longevity to the influencer marketing plans. There's the ability to speak consistently alongside influencers to consumers, and I would just urge brands to really think about that and engaging us a lot earlier on in that conversation.
And do you have any tips for brands to adapt to the current trends in the influencer marketing space?
I would say find yourself an agency who can deliver on that. I think it's the ability to keep on top of trends, but work with an agency that can deliver quickly. I think we have a great way of working with some of our clients like DoorDash and Pepsi, who are very trend focused. And obviously activating quickly on a trend is the most important part, because, they're here one day and by the end of the weekend they're gone. So it's about finding an agency that can activate on that quickly and efficiently for you.